State lawmakers now asking for more money for that 3,000-bed prison project planned in Franklin County. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis is with us now to take a deeper dive into this higher request. Kayla, they are asking for quite a bit.
They're asking for a lot. In 2023, the state allocated $420 million to get this project started, with an estimated total cost of $1.2 billion for the entire project. Well, Monday night, lawmakers filed a new appropriation bill asking the state for $750 million. Last week, a $330 million spending bill failed in the Senate Joint Committee meeting after the Department of Corrections, or DOC, failed to answer questions about the project's total cost. Then, the DOC announced an estimated amount sitting at $825 million. On Monday, Senator Jonathan Dismang filed a new appropriations bill that would allocate $750 million towards the construction of the 3,000-bed prison. I reached out to Senator Dismang to talk about how the more than $300 million in additional funds would be allotted, with no response. But I did speak with Natalie Cadena, a representative of Gravel and Grit, a local nonprofit group formed to oppose the prison. She says the challenges of the rural land and small town community would likely cost the state another $1 billion.
Everybody around there has wells. Nobody has city water. Nobody has city sewer. They have septic tanks. So I don't know what they think that's going to cost, but it's going to be a lot. Every emergency service until you get to Fort Smith is volunteer firefighters.
The bill caps the amount the state would provide at $750 million.
The cost of this prison exceeds the surplus, and they have never said, not one time, where they're going to get the initial money, not to include where they're going to get the additional money. The only money that we know that was, legitimately appropriated and available was the $75 million that Governor Hutchinson had allotted.
But the bill does say grants, donations, and federal funds can be used to aid in costs for this project. But Cadena thinks the additional money put towards this prison will negatively impact existing projects.
It's going to affect health care, which is already terrible. It's going to affect the LEARNS money and education. It's going to affect infrastructure and projects that are ongoing, like I-49. It's going to, there are so many things that this is going to have a direct effect on, not to mention just your tax dollars.
Should this bill pass in the House and Senate, the funds will go into effect immediately beginning July 1st. Kayla Davis, 5 News.
This session, we're getting rid of Arkansas's most regressive tax and giving a helping hand to Arkansans who need it the most.
Arkansas's governor announcing an effort to eliminate the state's grocery tax today. It's a process that's been underway since she outlined her vision in her State of the State address this year. As Rebecca Brown explains, the governor says eliminating the tax could return more than $10 million to consumers every year.
For too many families, the grocery bill went up while their paychecks stayed the same.
With the cost of living rising, the urgency to provide relief to families has never been greater. Tuesday, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced lawmakers' latest legislative initiatives aimed at addressing big issues.
The Grocery Tax Relief Act to finally repeal our state grocery tax, and the Good Neighbor Act to expand liability protection for food bank donors.
The current tax on groceries in the state is 1/8 of a cent. Governor Sanders says by removing the tax, Arkansans can expect a return of $10.9 million annually. Economic experts suggest this could translate to savings of $200 to $300 per year for the average family. Senate President Bart Hester says it can seem like a small impact, but it adds up.
Every move we can make to make sure the people of Arkansas have more access to food. Look, we're one of the hungriest states in the country. That's inexcusable.
The proposal will only cut the state's tax and will not impact any county or city grocery tax. However, according to the Department of Finance and Administration, several state government programs are expected to see reduction in revenue revenue, including state parks and tourism and Arkansas Game and Fish.
There will be no need to cut employees, personnel, or anything. We'll just have to take a look at our budget, and again, hopefully it's replaced, but if it's not, we'll take a look at budgets and see what we have to do.
In addition to the tax relief, the Good Neighbor Act aims to help food banks and certain food bank donors.
We've seen instances over the last several years in food banks not being able to accept certain products and things from restaurants and others, and so we just want to remove those barriers and make that opportunity easier.
This bill may not be a silver bullet. It may not solve all the problems, but what it does say is that we hear you, we understand the challenges that you're facing, and we're here to address the issues.
In Little Rock, Rebecca Brown, 5 News.
New tonight at 6, the city of Rogers taking legal action against Mark Industries over the cost to fight a fire at that recycling plant last year. That fire happened last October and created that big, thick black plume of smoke that could be seen as far as Fayetteville. Well, the city says damages to firefighting gear totaled $92,000. They say conditions inside the building led to more hazardous conditions. In a letter to the city sent earlier this year, Mark alleged that both Rogers and the RFD were aware of Mark's operations and the materials inside the building before the fire. As President Donald Trump set to address a joint session of Congress tonight, area activists are also making their voices heard. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi went to a march and rally in Fayetteville today where protesters say they marched forth for democracy.
Local community organizers say Tuesday's protest in Fayetteville was part of the 5051 movement, a national initiative aimed at fighting against fear, hate, and corruption.
We're here today to exercise our constitutional right to collect and express our opinions. We're here really in the defense of democracy. We are nonpartisan. We welcome both parties.
Hundreds gathered in front of the Washington County Courthouse, holding various signs of displeasure with the current political climate, many of which against executive orders made by President Trump since he took office.
I have a lot of friends who work for the VA, federal employees. I have a lot of friends who have lost their jobs or are on the axing block, and that's not okay. The cut to Medicaid is a big one for me. My child is on Our Kids First, so that's how he gets health insurance. And if they cut that, what am I going to do with him? He has special medicine that he has to have. How am I going to afford that?
The group marched from the Washington County Courthouse right here to the Fayetteville Town Center, and they say it's not just about one party or one president, but about holding elected officials accountable.
People are angry. They want everybody to know that they're upset with what's going on in our government right now.
Before the rally, Benton County Republican Chair Barbara Tillman said,
"We don't have time to protest. We have jobs, and we go to work."
Washington County Republican Party Chair Brian Lester adds that he saw a picture of the march and says it looked to him like another, quote, "I hate Trump" protest.
I really think it's important that we ask our representatives to do their job in Congress, to hold the executive branch accountable, and to ensure that Congress remains an essential branch of the government.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.